What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about one of the most mysterious and interesting canceled projects from Jurassic Park's past. So after the release of Fallen Kingdom and around the Battle at Big Rock era, everyone was kind of looking towards the next Jurassic World movie as far as anticipation goes. The promise of the original cast return and the concept of dinosaurs all over the planet sounded like something that even people that hated Fallen Kingdom may be really interested in. Unfortunately, the road to Jurassic World Dominion was paved with loads of issues concerning the 2020 pandemic. And after Netflix had a hit series focusing on a much younger audience, we never really got wind of the live-action Jurassic World TV series that had literally just been announced as a project back in March of 2020. This was a series said to be in development with Justin Falvey and Daryl Frank over at Amblin TV. Colin Trevorrow and Steven Spielberg were even going to produce. We got word of it around the time Dominion started to begin production. So what happened to that series? And why is it that Jurassic Park has kind of moved away from telling any sort of live action story in a modern TV format?
Keep it steady!
Now look guys, the way this show started was from a report that stated that all of the aforementioned people were involved in bringing some sort of project to life through Amblin TV. Now, that all sounds like a pretty cool idea. We had just seen Battle at Big Rock and the Dominion Prologue was on the way. And keep in mind that while the actual Jurassic World movies ended up being extremely mixed to negative in critical reception, these short films actually got a lot of positive attention. So the idea of a Jurassic World live action series was something that a lot of people were kind of on board with. Unfortunately, Frank Marshall would come out in an interview and say the following in regards to any future live action TV series back in 2022. Quote, "No, I'm really just focused on the movies, so I haven't really thought about that. There's been no discussion on that." And then he proceeded to kind of praise Camp Cretaceous. He's like, yeah, we got that other Netflix animated show, it's great. And that's really not what I think people that loved Jurassic Park and the more live action brand wanted to hear. So what happened? How did we get an announcement for a Jurassic Park live action show that quickly evaporated into nothing? And more importantly, could a show like that actually come back into production with this new redirection for the franchise? Well, first things first, guys, Jurassic World has actually had a very bumpy few years. The video games they've made on a park building front have been popular with that sort of section of the fan base, but unfortunately the more old school action adventure styled fan base have been left wanting from them. So the sales weren't always as high as they could have been in comparison to the launch of the first Jurassic World Evolution title around the Fallen Kingdom era. The mobile game Primal Ops got canceled super quick, Dominion was more or less laughed at by a large group of people, and even after the successes of Camp Cretaceous had happened, that series eventually wound up in some kind of weird science fiction robot world that stretched the believability of this being even remotely in the same universe as the original Jurassic Park. I think the idea actually was for them to create this live action show, and it could have even been set either around the time of the operational Jurassic World theme park, or maybe even after the events of Fallen Kingdom, where they would round up the dinosaurs once they got out. But none of that happened, and instead they focused on the Netflix series and tried to rewrite sections of Jurassic World Dominion during the pandemic when everything kind of blew up. This of course ended up with the live action series being all but forgotten, and Frank Marshall eventually stated that they were going to look at how the last film in the Jurassic World trilogy performed and then reevaluate and go from there for the future. And now here we are in the future with Gareth Edwards directing Jurassic Park 7 and David Koepp returning as writer for the film with an entirely new cast. Now I think the bulk of Universal and Amblin's resources kind of shifted to the next movie in order to get people excited about the Jurassic Park brand again. But make no mistake, the idea to make an alien isolation styled survival game set in 1993 right after the original Jurassic Park is also a sort of redirect in the same vein as bringing David Koepp back on board with a new team of characters. I think that had things gone a bit more smoothly on the production of Jurassic World Dominion, and maybe even if Camp Cretaceous hadn't been so much of a success, we would have already been on season 3 or season 4 of this show had it been a hit. But for whatever reason, they just redirected their energies into the other projects and left this one behind. But now that we are seeing a pretty different side of Amblin and Universal with the game and movie Jurassic Park Survival and Jurassic World Rebirth, if that is what it's actually going to be called, we can see that they are kind of reevaluating everything and, what they want to do going forward. So, if the plan to ever resurrect this live-action show comes about, I can see it being more in the vein of following on with the tone of the new film, or maybe even being set in the timeline somewhere around the 1993 film and new video game. And look, why do I say that? Well, keep in mind, Jurassic Park actually has a lot to gain by doing this. There are large sections of the canon that have been virtually untouched by filmmakers for several years. Jurassic Park stories set in 1994, 5, 6, and leading into 97 with the events of the Lost World Jurassic Park actually sound like something they could profit from. I did a whole video on Hurricane Clarissa, and the Sci-Fi Channel's website even picked up on that, saying, hey, Clayton's got a great idea here for something Jurassic Park fans would love to see. I mean, it's just something that makes a lot of sense, and with so much interest into Jurassic Park Trespasser, I think even the late 90s and early 2000s are also prime targets for stories involving live-action series with the Spinosaurus, Isla Sorna, and even cameos from Dr. Alan Grant, Dr. Ian Malcolm, Dr. Ellie Sattler. You gotta get Sarah Harding back in there, maybe even Nick Van Owen or Billy Brennan. And look, most importantly, why not bring back Lex and Tim? The post-John Hammond world of InGen is just ripe for material featuring the grandkids from the first movie, and with Jurassic Park Survival and the return of David Koepp to the new movie's writing team, I just think that if they do bring a live-action series idea back, this could be a super fun angle. If they don't want to go for any of this, there's always a simple operational theme park story targeting older audiences, or maybe even rounding up dinosaurs that got loose, like what we have seen in other projects from Jurassic Park before in the past. With all of that being said, I really think that this is a gold mine for them if they do it properly, and it looks like it fell out of favor once things started to shift within the brand, and Camp Cretaceous took things to a totally different level. Dominion was similarly aimed at a very young audience when compared to the other Jurassic World and Park movies, so I think a live-action TV-14, or even a TV PG kind of thing, with dinosaur attacks and maybe even blood, was just simply out of the conversation. It really does look like Camp Cretaceous started getting them positive reviews, so they're like, let's just do some more like family-friendly oriented stuff, and that turned into Dominion being an MCU movie tonally that had like a lot of issues in the production because of COVID. Maybe they realized they could move forward with this show in the future, like especially now that Jurassic Park Survival and Jurassic World Rebirth with David Koepp are like in production, but I guess what happened is they just decided, nah, we really don't want to do that. We want to do more Camp Cretaceous stuff, which is a shame, honestly. But hey guys, these are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. There was a point in time where Jurassic World almost got a live-action TV series that was even promoted back in 2020 during the production of Dominion and Camp Cretaceous coming out. So what happened to it, and would you like to see this thing return? And if you would, please tell me what era you'd like it in. I really think a long series that would start with the 1990s and just keep going on and on could be really cool. Jurassic Park 1994, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2000, beyond. I just think that if they did this properly, you could really have a great time with it. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video, and as always, take it easy.